In fact, we asked the main parties for cabinet-level politicians, but none of them have come along tonight. On our panel, and we're very glad that they are here, Rehman Chishti from the Conservatives, Seema Malhotra, Labour's Shadow Home Office Minister, Maajid Nawaz from the Liberal Democrats, and Tariq Mahmood from UKIP. And a quick point about our audience, they are more or less balanced politically, according to how the general population votes. Rehman Chishti, this was a massive opportunity for you, the ethnic minority vote. Why haven't you taken it?
Well, look, I'm here, on behalf of the Conservative Party. I'm a former Member of Parliament, somebody from a Muslim background. And I say to you, look, my father was an imam, and from the son of an imam to serving as a Member of Parliament in my hometown of Gillingham and Rainham, it is a Conservative Party which has given me the opportunity to serve. And I say
that's lovely for you, but in terms of ethnic minority voters, why aren't you reaching out to them?
Well, let me put it this way.
I mean, we asked for a cabinet-level person to come here tonight.
Let me answer the point for you. In terms of what are we doing to reach out to the ethnic minority voters, we have over 48 parliamentary candidates standing for the Conservative Party. In Ireland, we have the first ever Sikh candidate standing for the Conservative Party. We have members in the cabinet. Sajid Javid, first ever cabinet member, is a Conservative.
Yeah, not here tonight, unfortunately.
Baroness Varsi, former chairman of the party, a Conservative.
Who left you? Isn't the truth...
But she was a member of the Conservative Party.
And she quit in protest at your policies.
Policy issue.
Isn't the truth that you had a choice, which was to court this vote or to court UKIP voters, and you chose UKIP voters?
No, I think that's complete and utter nonsense, actually. The reality is this, as we saw on your programme tonight, is that people are no longer going with one party or the other over allegiance. They are shopping around like every other British voter to say, where can they get the best deal for you and your family to make sure you get a secure future?
Let's see what the audience think. Those of you who aren't going to vote Conservative, why not? Yes?
Yeah, they don't fit in my demographic. I don't think you really speak for someone like me. I found myself leaning more to the left, to Natalie Bennett and the Greens, but even though I'm a Labour voter.
Damien Alexander, where are you? Yes?
To me, I wouldn't vote Conservative. Labour have always represented the Afro-Caribbean community and ethnic minorities. The problem with the Labour representative is that at the moment you haven't engaged the ethnic community properly. We're in a situation now in the UK where basically we're going back to when the 50s was happening, right? The thing is that there's a danger that you're going to let the apathy, the ethnic minority vote is going to be so apathetic that the people who don't want to get in will be getting in.
All right, we'll come to Labour in a moment. How do you feel about the Conservatives? Hands up, yes.
I don't think I'd vote Conservative. It'd just be more of the same. It transcends ethnicity for me, actually. For example, I think Cameron went after the silver vote for making old age pensioners' benefits an issue. It shouldn't be an issue. That's a given for me. I think everybody just wants to have the truth. And I think the parties are just merging into one. UKIP talks about immigration, so they all talk about immigration.
Rehman Chishti.
Well, the point you make in relation to the Conservative Party representing and connecting with you is this. Look, for the Conservative Party, I come from a working class background. I was the first in my family to go to university. I had to get a loan out to pay for my fees as a barrister. The modern Conservative Party makes sure that if you do the right thing, if you work hard, you can succeed in life, which is the case for everyone here. And the Conservative Party makes sure that if you work hard, if you do the right thing, you will succeed. And I'm sorry, the idea to say it only represents some and not the others, this is not the modern Conservative Party, and I think you're misplacing your views.
OK, how do we feel about Labour? Yes?
I think out of the three main parties, they're doing more to engage with ethnic people. They've got more ethnic candidates, but their policies are stronger. So they're the only ones that want to tax the bankers' bonuses. They're the only ones who've talked about progressive tax, but Conservatives put the tax up for rich people. So straight away from that, I would vote for Labour.
Who's leaving Labour? There's some people in this audience who are leaving the Labour Party. Yes. Here.
I've left Labour. I voted Labour basically, I think it may apply to the rest of the people here, simply because my parents voted for Labour when they arrived here back in the 50s, so I followed suit. But being educated here and understanding politics, I've completely switched to the Conservative Party, and I totally agree with what you're saying here tonight.
Seema Malhotra. Thank you. That's your big problem, isn't it? You took them for granted.
Well, I don't think that's the case. I think there certainly has been change in the way that ethnic minorities have engaged in politics, and there certainly is a reason why there has been a traditional loyalty, partly because Labour's record on dealing with equality issues and shifting the debate, shifting the legislation in this country was fundamental. The First Race Relations Act as well.
Yeah, this is all history. The point is, support is slipping away. Listen to Damien Alexander up there. Why is he abandoning you?
It's not completely history. The point I'm trying to make is there has been a shift. So where there has been a more traditional loyalty to the Labour Party, it's absolutely right that all parties have to fight for the vote, and you cannot see ethnic minority vote as a bloc. I think certainly from the audience, however, so far, there's a mix of views about whether or not the Labour Party has engaged or taken the vote for granted. I don't believe we've taken the vote for granted, but I do believe we're in a different political climate.
Hold on, just get the microphone to you. Yes, go on.
How are you different today? That was history, but how do you differentiate yourself on policies around immigration and ethnic minorities?
You think they sound the same?
Yeah, now all Conservatives have now considered the ethnic minority vote and are starting to change.
And how does that make you feel?
I feel represented by the Tories just as much as I did when I was a Labour voter, and I think actually the Conservative member's right.
Well, I think that we have changed in a number of ways, but there is something very core about our values too. Our very core about the need to be focused on equality, having a race relations and race equality strategy that we would bring in, because there's still discrimination that's in this country.
That's not now.
There is still discrimination.
Damien Alexander, let's get the microphone to you. Hold on one sec, don't call out. Let's get the microphone to you in the middle.
I'm a Labour voter, and you're at risk of losing people like me. Because you are, like the gentleman said over there, you are sounding like the gentleman on your right. The point of the matter is you've lost your core values, okay? You're in danger of losing my vote. Why is it suddenly now you're saying these things, but you're not really addressing them? You are making immigration part of one of your core manifesto pledges.
Isn't the truth that you did the same thing as the Tories?
There's something. Let me talk about our immigration policy, because I think there is a slight confusion about what we're saying. We absolutely believe in the importance of immigration for Britain. We've said that. You see that in this room. You see that in how Britain won the Olympics. We won it on the basis of being proud of our diversity, proud of the contribution that all our diverse communities are making. And we have an economic asset as well in our diverse communities. The reason why our trade relations stay very strong is partly because of the nature of our diverse communities. But there are some issues that you do have to tackle. So we have said that it is important to control immigration. It's important to be able to say...
You're not recognising how that makes people feel in the room.
But it's about a fair
These people react differently, that's the point. Because it makes them feel that you're talking about them.
It's about a fair immigration policy. It's about a fair immigration policy for everybody.
Okay.
And I've talked about it with my constituents, but I want to say one thing, which is when I talk to my constituents as well, and we look at the casework that we get, there's been a real issue as well around how you feel and whether you're treated fairly. And
that's what we're coming on to, actually.
I just finished on family visas has been one point. And the issues that we've seen since the Conservatives' changes has made life very difficult for families that then don't feel that they've been treated fairly, which is one of the reasons why we would review the family visa system when we come in.
Tariq Mahmood, your leader doesn't think we need racial discrimination laws anymore. You basically think racism isn't a problem in this country, don't you?
What Nigel Farage has said is that so many years ago there was a need for race relations and there was specific legislation that was enacted to deal with the specific problems of race relations at that time. We've made significant inroads now, and we have more of a fairer, equal opportunities position now than we did 50 years ago.
Okay, hands up if you've experienced racism in the last 5 years. Is that a country that's moved on?
Certainly, I would say that we've made significant progress, and
that's progress, is it? A handful of hands.
You have people from different spectrums of society who believe that they may have faced racism, but we've made progress. And what Nigel was talking about is that we've made the position as it was 50 years ago and as to where we are now.
What do you make of this argument? Yes, so at the back, there's a man trying to get in right at the back there. Hold on, we'll just get the microphone to you.
What we've actually done is we've taught people the language to use. We've taught people on how to conduct themselves. What's underneath hasn't actually changed a great deal. We've made inroads, I accept that, but it's nowhere near gone.
Who was trying to get in here? Yes, on the front row here, with you, with the shirt and tie.
Yeah, I live in the city of Birmingham, which is supposed to be a multicultural city, but it's not too far from the area of Dudley. And over in Dudley, they're trying to build a mosque there, and there's constantly, nearly every other month, I'm reading in the local paper that there's reports of racial chanting, and there's lots of protesters out there who are against the mosques. So, and you keep going on about there's no racism, but there is, obviously, and it's only sort of like 30 minutes up the road.
Nigel, do you think you're a bit out of touch, maybe?
Certainly not. I think Nigel Farage came to Dudley 2 days ago and openly spoke about the fact that there should be mosques. He hasn't said that, I know that the position in Dudley in terms of EDL and the influence in that respect, but as far as UKIP is concerned and as far as Nigel Farage is concerned, our view is very clear. We welcome mosques in the city.
Isn't that just lip service, though, isn't that?
Just here on the front row, yeah.
The thing about fruitcakes and UKIP is that it's full of nuts, but you've also got a few little fruits in there, so I've got a bit of sympathy for UKIP. When they have their policies about, like Australia, the capping system or the point system, we do have a problem with immigration in this country, and although, you know, my father was an immigrant, and this generation becoming educated, we are starting to shift away from Labour. So we've moved away from Labour. Labour have gone too far left and not in the centre. And UKIP have put in these little gems, these little bits of fruit, the sweet tasting, the point system.
Can I take 2 points off at the back there? The two ladies with their hands up. Yeah, on the second to back row. Yeah.
UKIP is saying that, you know, racism is not a problem. Well, I was reading this article, and according to statistics, right, you know, in UCAS and university applications, ethnic minority students have the least chance of getting offers, even though they have the same grades or even better grades than white British students. So are you telling me that's not racist?
And yes, next to you.
I think that, first of all, using the term immigrant, there's a bit of a problem there, because many people who came to this country after the World War, they were migrants, so they came and contributed positively to the country's economy. I think that UKIP's narrative is a very dangerous narrative, and it's a very lazy analysis of the problems that we have in our country, because it always rebounds back to immigration. So how do the other party members feel?
Well, let's bring in Maajid Nawaz, who's been sitting here very patiently. Now, you put your hand up when I asked if you'd experienced racism in the last 5 years.
Yes, absolutely. Look, I'm happy that Tariq is here. It must be very brave of him to have to hear a lot of this. But I want to make it very clear that, you know, this is an ongoing struggle, and we must remain vigilant and remain diligent on the struggle against racism.
So what is the Liberal Democrat policy that's going to tackle racism?
Well, I think there isn't one policy that can fix
any
it.
Of them.
The whole country has to unite together around this. One thing we have been doing is standing firm on principle. I've heard a lot from everyone here tonight that people are concerned that all the parties, all the main parties, are trying to play catch-up with a race to the bottom because of UKIP.
Do any of
everyone
you
here knows
have a policy that tackles racism?
Yes, so everyone here knows that Nick Clegg, the Liberal Democrat Party leader, was the only party leader, frankly, that did take UKIP head-on, despite the fact that it wasn't popular, debated them on immigration, went head-to-head twice. The polls said that he lost, but the fact is we do that. We
Rehman,
stand up on
Chishti, have you got a policy on racism?
Let me just come back on that specific point. An issue which discriminates the minority community more than many other issues is the issue of stop and search. If you look at the issue of stop and search, in 2008 and 9, 1.5 million people were stopped and searched. And how many of those were actually then charged at the end?
Yeah, but hang on,
hang on a minute. Specific issue.
You had a long introduction at the beginning. That was a
specific issue.
What about the go home bans?
Let me make clear in terms of specific issues.
Let's talk about the go home bans.
Specific issues on stop and search, which this government, and you're part of this government, in a coalition-led government, which we are reforming. For example, let me finish, and you come back on that. Section 60, in relation to stop and search, which required that reasonable suspicion in relation to what may occur. We said no.
Well, we'll judge you on the numbers on stop and search in due course. Answer the point about the go-home bans.
We can't let you get away with this. Your party put out racist go-home bans on the streets that we then had to try and block and stop, and we're a tiny partner in the coalition. You'll probably be in a coalition again with somebody. So
we're working for an outright Conservative majority.
So let me make the point. You cannot argue that because, look, stop and search was I don't know if you've ever been stopped. I've been stopped and searched. I've been profiled. I've had my DNA taken from me. It's an abysmal...
It's totally unacceptable.
It's an appalling policy. And it's good that it's stopped, but or reduced. But then when you have a party that wants to, compete with UKIP on racist go-home bans,
we're going to have to hold that thought for a second. Hold that thought for a second. We're going to have to take a quick break. We'll have more discussion here in Birmingham in just a moment for our panel of politicians and our audience of ethnic minority voters, and a performance by the jazz trio that we have with us. Welcome back to the Birmingham Symphony Hall, where we are debating the election issues that are being talked about among the country's ethnic minority voters, with our audience and a panel of politicians from the four main parties. I want to address something you're not normally asked about, which is what makes you different to your white colleagues in your parties by virtue of you being an ethnic minority. Seema Malhotra.
I think what makes us different is that we've got a different experience, and I think that connects us differently with the population. When people see ethnic minorities in different areas, whether that's in public services or on boards of company on company boards or in politics, it feels a connection. You feel a connection, and I think that's really important because it also is a diverse experience that has to be there within our politics, so that people feel that they're better represented. I think that's, you know, I came into Britain as I was born in Britain and in Hounslow, and one of the most important things for me has been someone whose story is that of a politician who's grown up locally.
I'm sorry, we don't have time for the story. I'm sorry, I'm going to move on to Rehman Chishti. Do you feel like an insider or an outsider? Well, are you different to your white colleagues in the Conservative Party?
Well, I would say, look, Parliament as it stands at the moment is not reflective of society at all. You know, in relation to people from BME community or women. It is not. You know, and therefore it needs people from different backgrounds. I come from a working class background, the first son of an imam to sit in Parliament. So therefore, when you have issues debated affecting different communities, you can relate to them.
Okay.
So I think we need more people from different backgrounds.
In 10 seconds, Maajid, Nawaz.
I'd say lived experience. Look, I've had my DNA taken from me. I've been profiled. I've had neo-Nazis chase me down the streets with hammers. I've been detained without charge. Over my dead body, will I allow any of the other political parties to reintroduce any of those things? Let's throw in their invading countries illegally as well.
Okay.
You know, and that's so lived experience.
I'm sorry we're so short for time, but Tariq, Mahmood.
UKIP have welcomed me with open arms, and I've been positively been involved with engaging with various communities. I come from an ethnic background. I have those experiences as other individuals, and I feel that me as an individual politician can engage with those specific communities.
Okay, I'm going to give the last word to one person from the audience, and it's going to be you.
We need to have a sensible debate on immigration, but the problem with UKIP is it has this sort of it's created this debate among the press about demonising Romanians, for example.
Okay, thank you all very much indeed, and I'm sorry we didn't have more time, but thank you. That is all from this stunning concert hall. We are back tomorrow at 7 to